Southern Miss is ranked 21st in the nation. 30 wins, 23 straight years. That's the most among all Division I teams, seeking a 9 straight 40-win campaign. That's tops in the country, and they'll be the spotlight of this week's podcast here on Dugouts, Dumbbells, and Dingers as we visit with Matthew Russo, the slugger nicknamed Bull Jr. first baseman for the Golden Eagles, who have won 9 straight games, and they are primed for a 21st NCAA tournament overall. Kyle Schassburger and David Kahn with you on 3D. For those watching live on the YouTube video stream, you will not get Matthew Russo because we talked to him a couple of days ago. We'll have him inserted into the audio podcast wherever you podcast. Make sure you go back, listen to that. But the video episode with Matthew is already live. I published that at 6 a.m. this morning. So if you go back one more episode here on the YouTube page, Dugouts, Dumbbells, and Dingers, thank you for continuing to support us there. You will see that conversation. Awesome stuff with Matthew Russo. Can't wait to get to that. David Kahn, though, I've got details on the Lettuce Club competition that I've bestowed upon myself as I look to regain what is rightfully mine next Tuesday, 11:30 a.m. Eastern Time, live on the stream. How's that sound?
It sounds great to me. Do you need me to go through the rules of the lettuce eating challenge for you and for all of our listeners out there? Because I have them pulled up.
I have them in front of me as well. Go ahead and give me the high points, and then I'll clean up where you refuse to shine a light appropriately.
All right. So first and foremost, this is a record-breaking attempt for Kyle Schassburger. So he is attempting to break the record set by the original Lettuce Club at the University of Minnesota. Shout out Gophers. Hampton Weber set the record in spring of 2021 or fall.
Do we know if it's Weber or Weber? Because I want to say Weber for Weber State.
Don't.
Okay.
Weber, I'm not sure. We apologize if we got your name wrong. We said it both ways. He set the record for 2 minutes and 35 seconds in the fall of 2021. So Kyle Schassburger is attempting to not only dethrone the current head lettuce, but the all-time head lettuce championship by eating a full head of iceberg lettuce only, Schass. Don't let me see you with any of that romaine crap, all right? Iceberg lettuce only. It must be weighed at least 1 pound upon arrival. I will weigh your lettuce. No shame in doing that. We have a scale. I will weigh it. No exceptions made. You do not have to pay any money. You need to eat the full head. You are allowed to wash the outside of the lettuce, but the head must be intact upon beginning of eating. You can't have dressing. However, we are saying no dressing. Schass is going to eat this lettuce in its natural state. No dressing. You are allowed a plate or a bowl if you would like it to finish any, because you have to eat all those scraps as well. The winner is declared by raising the stem of the lettuce, and your mouth needs to be empty. If you prematurely claim victory, you are disqualified. I will be timing you with a timer counting down from 2 minutes and 35 seconds, and we will see the timer live on the screen on YouTube. I will share my screen with a timer so everyone will see the timer. It will not be fake. This will not be forgery. This will be real. You will see the timer in real time as Kyle Schassburger attempts to break the record of 2 minutes and 35 seconds, eating a full head of iceberg lettuce only. I will confirm that it is iceberg. We will weigh it 1 pound live on the pod. It'll be here for you to all witness this record-breaking attempt by our very own Kyle Schassburger.
Head lettuce emeritus is the ceremonial title that is given out, let's see, to a first-place finisher, UMN student, but has less than 1 year left. Okay, some of the titles here, we need to come up with what is going to be awarded to me. Is it Emperor Schass? Is it King Lettuce Head? Is it Bergs Eat Berg? Royalty of some kind? Like, we need to come up with something clever and catchy. I love the action.
I like King Berg. I think that's good.
I like Emperor Schass. I think it's got a better ring to it personally.
All
but as you were going through some of those rules, my favorite is the actual action of lifting the remaining stem afterwards. Yeah, as a show of force, if you will, to display for all of those who are consuming and watching and attending this prestigious event, both at the University of Minnesota annually. Some of the other rules or notes in here says, which I love, for recruitment, how you can become a member of this club, but rules such as how often they meet. They will not meet no more or no less than 1 time per year, and that is for this event, which was held this past weekend. So that's how this whole thing spawned on the campus of University of Minnesota in the Twin Cities. As 235 is the record, the winner from this past weekend. 3 minutes and 30 seconds.
Yep.
So I will do my best, and I will succeed. 2 minutes and 35 seconds.
You also need to work on memorizing this lettuce creed that you have to read before you begin the challenge.
Yeah, I'm not going to memorize it. That's where I was going next. I will read it, and we won't do it now. We will save it to prior to me starting. And I want you to start that clock next week, Tuesday, 11:30 a.m. Eastern time on our YouTube page, Dugouts, Dumbbells, and Dingers. I want you to start that as soon as I put my mouth around the first piece of lettuce. Okay, don't start it, but as soon as you see my mouth open, and I'll make it very visible, very obvious to you here on the live stream. I'll turn to the side, and you'll see it enter my mouth. And that's when you start the timer, okay?
Yep, and the screen will be shared, so people will be able to see you. I will remove myself from the stage, but you'll be able to see the timer and Kyle Schassburger equal on the screen. We will watch it happen live. So we will see if you can break the record. I think you can do it. I will never doubt you in a food eating challenge. I do need to come up with a crown of lettuce or like a scepter or something to award you, because the winner usually gets a crown of lettuce.
I'm sick and tired of you stealing my thunder on every freaking show. It's the next thing I have. Am I getting a scepter? Am I getting the lettuce crown? Like, is there going to be something provided to me as soon as I accomplish this feat?
What do you want?
I don't know. Let me think about it. I'll get back to you.
All right, tell me what you want, and I will provide for you.
But we do have to make sure that the organ music, the Royal Coronation Overture, we have that downloaded and playing embedded softly underneath me during this. It's an 8 minute and 43-second file that the Lettuce Club uses out of Minneapolis. They will, for the University of Minnesota, in this annual pilgrimage, if you will, towards head and lettuce. We won't need 75% of that music, okay? More than 75, probably 80% of that music. So, but we'll start it early, at least when I'm doing the creed. So we'll get through about 5 minutes of that coordination overture. So all of that will be part of Tuesday's show. We'll try to go on air at 11 a.m. Really, honestly, I don't think we need a lot of build-up, at least by 11:15. You know how things go. We'll schedule 11. It'll be 11:10, 11:15. We'll get into the nuts and bolts of the weekend. What is this, weekend 13 coming up here, Kahn? And we'll dive into some of the notable games. We'll probably talk about it here on the top before we get to Matthew Russo, and then we'll get right to the head hunting. And I'm coming for the lettuce. So I'm going to take that whole thing down. 11:30 a.m. Eastern time is when we are going to start that particular challenge. The highlight of the podcast this year for sure, and that will be 6 days from us going to Hoover. So.
Yes, it will.
It'll be quite the springboard for that. Okay, midweek results. You want to talk Coastal Carolina? They've won 8 in a row. This is a Fun Belt-centric podcast. We've got Matthew Russo of Southern Miss, second place Golden Eagles, ranked 21 nationally. Then you have Coastal Carolina, who's ranked 14th in the nation. They've now won 8 in a row after a 5-3 midweek win over Clemson. I put that one on your radar maybe over a month ago in terms of Coastal's ability to use that to their advantage in building out a host resume. They took care of business in front of a record crowd. Wells Sykes had some incredible defense out in center field. Really helped to, limit what Clemson was able to do. Clemson can't hit the baseball, Kahn. I think there's a Clemson problem more than anything here. They've got one guy hitting over 300, and that's Jaron Purify, who hasn't played in over a week. He didn't play in the FSU series. He's got a bum ankle. He's hitting 311. Everybody else with at least 4 at-bats on the season is hitting below 300. And Coastal Carolina takes care of business in front of 5,300 fans.
Yeah, they do. I mean, a big win for Coastal. Also huge to set up what could be a Sun Belt title clinching weekend for Coastal Carolina, as they have a 2-game lead on Southern Miss. They host ULM. Southern Miss takes on Louisiana at Lafayette. So we'll see. Both those teams are at home, Coastal and Southern Miss. I'm just identifying where Louisiana is located for those who don't know. But anyways, it's going to be a big weekend for Coastal Carolina. So they are riding a ton of positive momentum as they go into a chance to, if they win 1 game or 2 games actually, and Southern Miss loses 2 games, Coastal is your Sun Belt regular season champs.
Coastal Carolina 14, Southern Miss 21. Again, those two not meeting during the regular season. We'll ask Matthew Russo about that, or try to get him to react in some way. The conversation with Matthew is going to be great. You're going to love that. We'll get to that in about 5 10 minutes tops or so. Anything else from the midweek that stands out to you, Kahn? Another midweek, another loss for West Virginia.
Bro, and that was a brutal one. They were up 9-5 in the top of the ninth, and they gave up 5 runs in the bottom of the inning to lose to Pitt on a walk-off error, which is exactly how they lost to Marshall last week. It's tough, and obviously nobody in West Virginia likes to lose to Pitt. However, it is not the end of everything. West Virginia is still firmly in the hosting picture. And as long as they take care of business this weekend, they have a 3-game lead on Arizona State. West Virginia, another one of those teams that could lock up the Big 12 regular season title. 1 win for the Mountaineers, 1 loss for the Sun Devils against Houston this week. And West Virginia is your Big 12 champs.
3-2 loss. UCSB 3-2 win over number 25 USC. Long Beach State 4-2 over 18th ranked UCLA. Grand Canyon beat number 22 Arizona by 3. 5-2 was the final score in that one. Before we move to these field to 64 projections, one more thing on the Coastal game. Did you see the bullpen? Did you see how raucous that environment was? That was so cool. I hadn't listened actually to the tape until this morning when I was at the gym prior to coming in, just because I wanted to make sure I had all the context. I mean, they're in costumes. One guy was dressed up like a banana, and the bullpen, it's right there underneath you, beyond the outfield wall. I think it was right field. And there's the coach who's working with the pitcher who's warming up. I can't remember who it was, number 42, whoever that is for Clemson.
It's their
but these guys,
coach,
these guys are ruthless. And it's clean, though, too. So this is like good banter from the fans. The guy said at one point, like, Coach, are you sure you don't want to put me in? And just flustering the guy who's warming up in the bullpen, like,
every time he missed the zone, they were like, whoa, like go crazy. Oh, it was awesome. I loved everything about it.
Yeah, their reactions, that was pretty sick. Who else had a good bullpen? Clemson was part of it. Was that against South Carolina earlier this year?
Yeah, it was we've kind of
unfortunately forgot all about the Gamecocks at this point.
Sorry about it. Well, Paul Maneri even commented on it. He was like, damn, that was wild.
Yeah.
I mean, but no, those are the main midweeks that I wanted to kind of highlight. It was a bad week for ranked West Coast teams, or bad midweek for ranked West Coast teams, USC, UCLA, and Arizona. But West Virginia lost another one. Coastal continuing to surge. Other than that, really, it was just it was your average midweek. We got a big weekend coming up though. In college baseball with the penultimate regular season weekend, a chance for the SEC, Big 12, Big 10, Big West, Big East, or Big 10, Big West, and Sun Belt titles to be locked up. As far as I can tell, I don't believe the ACC or Big East titles can be locked up this week. I think there's too much carnage to happen.
I think you're right on that. Miami, who's the team we documented earlier in the week, they did win again in the midweek as well over Florida International 10-6. That's now 12-13, 14-16 in 5th place in the ACC. They play at Virginia this weekend and then home to Notre Dame. I was crunching some numbers earlier in the week. They are tied for 5th with 6 other teams, but tied for 5th nationally are the Hurricanes with most combined quad 1 and quad 2 wins. They've got 17 combined quad 1 and quad 2 victories, tied with LSU, Clemson, Alabama, Tennessee, and TCU. West Virginia and Arizona, who are both slightly better in RPI at 22 and 25. As of a couple of days ago, this may have changed. I haven't refreshed, but they're each tied for 11th with 16 combined quad 1 and quad 2 wins. So number 1 is Texas. This might speak or at least feed the narrative of them remaining number 1 in this week's top 25 poll, which has been a big topic of conversation. Should the Longhorns remain in that top spot, which they were in the D1Baseball.com poll, which is adopted by the NCAA as their official top 25 poll. 22, which is one more than Vanderbilt, who is 5th in RPI earlier this week with 21, second behind the 22 combined quad 1 and quad 2 from Texas. And then you have 19 apiece from Auburn and North Carolina. So that's kind of a snapshot of who actually is racking up the most notable wins when you break it down in terms of quad 1 versus quad 2.
Yeah, and it helps when you're Texas, you play in the SEC. Every game you play is basically a quad 1 or quad 2 game.
A lot of people have been dogging on the Texas schedule early on, but I mean, it's the SEC. Like, they're beating who's on the schedule.
Dog on it, yeah.
I saw a lot.
Everybody's a big boy.
I saw a lot of conversation about, that it's people who are living their life with horns down day in and day out, but
Right.
that they hadn't really played anybody at this point. So they won a series. Look, they swept Georgia at home. They took 2 out of 3 from LSU. I mean, what more do you want them to do?
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, I mean, Arkansas went in there and beat the brakes off them at Baum Walker, but other than that, they haven't lost a series all year. So good on Texas.
Yeah, I guess you can argue it's them going on, had they gone on the road and actually been challenged. But none of these teams, I mean, it's the SEC. These teams are only going on the road when they have to in the Southeastern Conference. And that's a discussion for another podcast in terms of how we can creatively schedule. But, you have these MTE, these multi-team events early on at these big league ballparks. So that certainly helps. Other midweek results. Oregon, 5th-ranked team in the country. We didn't give them a lot of the limelight on Tuesday's pod. Mason Neville had a 2-homer game against Michigan State. He's leading the nation in home runs. He's got, I think it's 25 now for him. 25 total home runs, leading the nation. His teammate Jacob Walsh has 16, who leads Oregon, leads the Ducks in career home runs with 56. Right behind him is Neville at 39. They won 2 midweek games, did Oregon. 5th-ranked Ducks, 6-3 and 8-1, both over St. Mary's. They have a huge series against Washington in Eugene this past weekend. So that's one of my notable series to keep an eye on coming up this weekend, as they have a 1-game lead on the 5th-place Huskies at this point. Still with Iowa leading that league, but they had just dropped 2 out of 3 to Washington this past weekend. And then there was one other, before we get to the projections, Kahn, you can give me your takeaways, then we'll get to Matthew Russo. Thought I had one more midweek thing I wanted to note. Oh, Missouri, 6-5 loss to Kansas. They got close again. 6-5 loss.
They still haven't won since, what is it, April whatever? Is that the case? When's the last win for Missouri? I mean, they're over in conference. I know that, but when is their last victory? Oh my God. April 15th, Missouri State.
Yikes.
They have won 3 midweeks in April, and that is it. Ooh. So they have lost now 12 in a row. They're 13 and 35. Oh my gracious.
1-15 away from Taylor Stadium, and they're at Texas A&M this weekend. I don't think they're going to win a game.
Sweep.
It's going to come down to Como against Mississippi State on the final weekend. 0-24 in the SEC. Vanderbilt again, 1962. 0-16 and 2. There were 2 ties during that season for the Vanderbilt Commodores. So, I mean, this would put Missouri in a league of their own, literally, because there's not going to be any ties here in 2025. Well, I guess weather could rear its head, but
sure.
My money would be on Mizzou going 0-30 versus a tie ending up on their schedule over these final 2 weekends. And we set the over-under at 3.5 in terms of SEC wins. I took the under, you took the over, so I look really good there, right?
Well, I mean, after Texas A&M sweeps them this weekend, you're going to win. That's going to be it's going to be decided. So yes, you're looking very good there.
Here's my thing, because I watched Georgia, Missouri, a little bit of each of those games this past weekend.
Okay,
they're going to A&M this weekend. Kerrick Jackson, I don't know what he's preaching, what his points of emphasis are. I don't know. I don't understand some of the boneheaded mistakes that this team is making in terms of making a catch in the outfield and not making a catch in left center field and not firing it towards second immediately when there's a runner on first, where Georgia could have easily tagged. Fortunately for them, Georgia did not tag, but you're just firing it into third and not even trying to make an effort at second base, for a fly ball tag play. Does that make sense? Like easy fundamental things. And then base running mistakes that I saw a number of times where they're just running into outs or not being the aggressors. Like there's some small nuanced baseball things. And it was picked up on the broadcast and talked about too. And really, it was like a microcosm of just what's gone wrong for Missouri, because all of these little things, they add up. And the better teams, and certainly the SEC, your peers in the conference, are going to take advantage of these little things. So, and they were they had a lead. They haven't led much at all this year. They had a lead on a couple of occasions. I think it was game 2. They scored first. Game 3, I think they scored first. Either way, they were tied at 2 in the 8th inning in Sunday's finale, and Slade Alford had a 2-run homer.
Yeah. I really think that for Missouri, it's just one of those things, like you said, things are starting to snowball on them, and they are just in the middle of an avalanche right now. And they can't get out of their own way. And the avalanche is just hitting. There's more snow just being piled on top of them, and they're trying to claw their way out, and they're getting very close. but then another pile of snow just lays on top of them and they got to start over from scratch. So it's something that you really, there's no easy answer to say how can Missouri get out of it. And really, Missouri getting a win is like the victory of all victories this year in the SEC, which is kind of sad. But really, Missouri has won a game in the SEC. They've lost 12 in a row. They haven't won a conference game this year. They've won 3 games in the last month and a week. So, like, they just desperately need a victory. It's kind of like, you're just trying to break the glass. That game, like that little kids game where you got the little white, like, plastic cubes and the red hammer, and you're tapping. You're trying not to break the glass. Missouri needs to just take that thing and hammer it and absolutely break through the doors. Because once they do, I mean, listen, all bets are off in Hoover, right? It's single elimination. Do I think Missouri will go win 6 games in a row or 5 games in a row? No. But, like, could they? Sure. I mean, who knows? You got to win 5 games. If you've won 1 and you've got that monkey off your back, you're playing with literally nothing to lose. Go for broke. See what happens. I'm interested to see how Missouri plays in the SEC tournament, honestly, with a single elimination format, knowing that they can just knock every team off that they beat instead of having to worry about double elimination, managing your pitching staff. You just kind of say, screw it. Let's see what we can do.
Dugouts, Dumbbells, and Dingers brought to you by Baseball and Barbecue. Go to baseballbarbecue.com. Promo code is 3D-20. It's tailgate season. Tons of favorites out there. Major League Baseball teams, the collegiate infused merchandise, the grilling tools, the apparel. It's all there for you. Fun and functional baseball barbecue products. Perfect for casual fans or serious grillers. Visit baseballbarbecue.com. Again, our promo code is 3D-20. 20% off your first order. Follow me on Instagram at baseball_BBQ, on Facebook at baseball barbecue, TikTok at baseball_BBQ, and even on Twitter at baseball BBQ. All right, Kahn, field of 64 projections released here this week again by D1Baseball.com. UC Irvine is not one of the national seeds. It's not one of the 16 regional seeds, period, in this latest projection. What else stands out to you?
I mean, we told you UC Irvine couldn't fuck it up. They fucked it up. So
they go, Kahn. Clean until that moment.
They lost over the weekend, and that's going to hurt you when you're in the Big West. So UC Irvine out as a top 16. Tennessee and Clemson tumble out of the top 8. Georgia, Auburn, and Vandy, after series wins, get into the top 8. Pretty much makes sense. The biggest thing that stands out to me, also Oregon in as a top 16, rightfully so. I've been high on Oregon since the start. I said they were going to make the College World Series, so I'm glad that the Ducks are surging at the right time. NC State falls out of the top 16. Arizona joins Oregon in the top 16. The biggest thing for me is, are we going to get 14 SEC teams in the NCAA tournament? I feel like if Texas A&M and Mississippi State both find their way in, which we think they will, we are going to get 14 teams. Like, how would we not? The only 2 teams that are not going to get in are South Carolina and Missouri. Everybody else, if A&M, Mississippi State hit that, illustrious 13, 14 win plateau and at least win 1 game in Hoover, I mean, they're locks. So that's 14 teams. Because right now, I think 12 are locks no matter what, and you're just worried about A&M, Mississippi State. Like, how do we not get 14? Right? Are we concerned about Florida getting in? I don't know. We were. Like, I think 14 teams is very realistic for the SEC right now.
Previous record was 10 up until last year when we got 11 in. And now we're looking at 14. Granted, we got 2 more schools in Oklahoma and Texas, but, I mean, that is bonkers. 14.
Kentucky, I guess, too. They're at 10 and 14. We got to worry about Kentucky.
Yeah, Kentucky is part of the last 4 in with Kansas State, Iowa, and Xavier, according to D1 Baseball. Right on the bubble, first 4 out, UT Rio Grande Valley. The Vaqueros, come on, we got to get the Vaqueros in. Western Kentucky on the bubble, which is making CUSA a one big league right now if it's going to be DBU who wins the league tournament. So, I mean, Western Kentucky, based on that math, would have to make a little bit of noise here with a strong finish. Who does Western Kentucky have left? Let's pull that up real quick.
Western Kentucky. Oh, who do the tops have? I don't know. Because they got swept by FIU, and then over the weekend, they won 2 of 3 against Louisiana Tech. Or no, they swept Louisiana Tech. They have New Mexico State at Las Cruces, and then they host Jacksonville State to close the season.
Yeah, I think that's very doable for Western Kentucky, and if they can manage the 2 seed going in the CUSA tournament, which is on the campus of Liberty. It's in Lynchburg this year. They can earn their way back in and possibly make CUSA a 2-bid league. I really think that's it could be Louisiana. Obviously, anybody who wins CUSA, not named DBU, is going to make that a 2-bid league because Dallas Baptist is getting in. So really, that's the only way for them. The other teams on the bubble, a part of the first 4 out, Michigan and Notre Dame. And then 4 to watch, Virginia, Virginia Tech, Kennesaw State, and Washington. I really like Oregon too, Con. I'm proud of you picking them in the preseason. Mason Neville, I think, is your Golden Spikes Award winner at this point.
Yeah, how could he not? I mean, he's leading the country in dingers. Sure. It's an obvious pick, but yeah. He's certainly a final, among the top group right now. They won't announce the finalists until the postseason, but Mason Neville's got to be up there.
Now, these are the important thing to consider, and then we'll pivot and we'll get to Matthew Russo of Southern Miss, is these are projections. This is the Nerdcast, and what D1Baseball.com does is they're projecting how the rest of the season is going to finish. It's not as if the season ended today. That's why Oregon is projected as a 13, just a regional host, one of 16, and not one of the national seeds, even though they're ranked 5th nationally. I think Oregon, if they can slide up into that top 8, that would do them. That would favor them much more than I think just being one of the 16. So I don't know if they're going to be able to do it. They're in third place right now in the Big Ten.
They close with Iowa. They close at Iowa. It's a big series. So you already mentioned they host Washington this weekend. They're trying to separate themselves in the standings, but they close at Iowa. That's going to be a massive series for Oregon. If they can win that series, that could, if other carnage happens, that could vault them into the top 8.
Oregon paired with the Baton Rouge region, LSU as the number 4 overall national seed. That'd be a rematch of those two from the postseason a few years ago. I know when LSU was playing in Eugene, and I think they had gotten bounced by the Ducks that time. That's when I was doing podcasts from Chicago during that season with you, which I believe we're going to be doing again in a couple of weeks when I leave after our regional rundown show. So you want to remind the folks about the show before we get to Matthew Russo?
Yes, absolutely. Why would I not? Regional rundown show is starting up Friday, May 30th through Monday, June 2nd. The second edition of the NCAA baseball regional rundown, live exclusively on the Varsity Network app. We'll have every game from regional weekend, whip around style, live play-by-play of the hometown radio call, highlights, reactions, first pitch to the final out, 1 p.m. to 11 p.m. Friday through Sunday. Monday is TB Day. We'll have live look-ins to the Women's College World Series as well, with Westwood One's live radio coverage from there. So please join us on the Varsity Network app. Regional rundown, dial it in. It was awesome last year. We're going to go bigger and better this year. Longer windows Friday through Sunday. 10 hours of straight baseball red zone injected into your ear holes. Follow it. Listen to it. You can throw squeeze play on. Put it on mute. It's fine. We'll give you the audio. They can give you the video. All good. Dial it in. Regional rundown. Let's go.
Speaking of radio, how about Zach DeBozar with the walk-off? Bree Ellis, the best softball player in America. This girl walked up to the plate, already had been walked twice, hadn't swung the bat, was hit once, and in a game with the bases loaded, Georgia had nowhere to put her in game two of the day yesterday. Bree Ellis for Arkansas walks it off with the sacks packed. Just a nightmare scenario for the host Georgia Bulldogs. I bring up SEC softball because you can listen to that on the Varsity Network app all week long. Currently on the air right now, you got 4 more games heading your way. This is quarterfinal Thursday, semifinals on Friday, championship game on Sunday. Rob Joyce, Zach DeBozar, and Dan Kortz are handling that. SEC Radio Network national coverage. David Kahn, myself, Tim Bickford, and Gabe Genovese will be there with the SEC baseball tournament in Hoover, which is going to see a enhanced facility, more makeover-like features done to the Met here prior to that tournament coming up in less than 2 weeks. Can't wait to get there. But SEC Radio Network, look it up on the Varsity Network app. You can catch it on Sirius XM as well. Those guys are doing a phenomenal job. Appreciate what they do delivering radio magic. Good softball. Good softball yesterday, man. Love it. Southern Miss is a good baseball team. Very good. They have redefined what it means to be a non-P4 program, and that's no insult. I mean, they operate like a P4 program, but they come from the Sun Belt. 20 NCAA tournaments overall, 8 league tournament titles, 7 conference regular season titles, and 3 super regional appearances. They have made it to Omaha back in 2009 under the legendary Corky Palmer. Yeah, Scott Barry's the head coach for 14 years. He's part of the program for over 2 decades. You had this seamless transition and power to Christian Ostrander. Oz is in his second year and one of the key cogs in this Southern Miss lineup, 21st nationally. Again, approaching 40 wins again for what would be a 9th consecutive season. They're in second place right now in the Coastal, but one of those key cogs is Matthew Russo. A visit with Matthew Russo is coming up next on Dugouts, Dumbbells, and Dingers as he talks about his recruitment, the dynamic Southern Miss lineup that he gets to play with, both on the mound and in the box, to a special bond he has with his father. All that and more coming up next on Dugouts, Dumbbells, and Dingers.
A true teammate takes on every day with a winner's attitude, gets up when they fall down, and leaves it all on the field. There's a group of teammates who do all these things every single day. But they're more than your typical athlete. They're kids dealing with unthinkable medical circumstances. Team Impact matches children facing serious illness or disability with college sports teams, creating a long-term, life-changing experience for everyone involved. Help us get all kids in the game. Visit teamimpact.org. Team Impact. All in, all together.
College softball season is in full swing, and we're just the ones to talk about it. Join me, former Florida Gators All-American Amanda Lorenz, and my co-host, Jenna Becerra, every week as we deliver the latest in college softball on the D1 Softball Podcast. We've got all the latest, whether it is in the circle or in the batter's box. We have interviews with coaches, players, and more. We'll go through the week's top 25 poll and give our insights, as well as our plays, wins, and whiffs of the week. Let us get you in the know on all things college softball. Listen on d1softball.com and the Varsity Network app.
David Kahn, that Ocean Storm limited edition Borgoball is live. BackyardBaseballBros.com. That thing is nasty looking. I think it's sick. That's like a deep dark blue color it's like a Chicago Bears navy, but then it's got like a Seahawks green. Seahawks colors. That's what it is. It's the Seattle Seahawks, the Seattle Mariners. It's got that aqua light green tint to a dark blue Borgoball. Man, I'll tell you what, I think I got one in my pocket right now. I got the original. I got the OG right here. The foam baseball, revolutionizing indoor baseball, outdoor baseball. It's safe, it's fun. Those raised seams the most mimic the real pearl. But make sure you go to BackyardBaseballBros.com. There's only going to be 100 of those Ocean Storm limited edition Borgoballs. Only 100. Authentication card is included. Go to BackyardBaseballBros.com. Mr. Bergonio, thank you for putting that out there on Twitter earlier this week. So the Borgoball, go to BackyardBaseballBros.com. How good was Matthew Russo, though, David?
Oh, dude, Matthew Russo was awesome. Not only did he give us a wealth of information, he's hilarious. I mean, I was cracking up listening to some of the things Matthew Russo was saying. I feel like he has to be the resident funny guy on the Southern Miss Golden Eagles, right? Like, he was genuine, personable. He was down to earth, gave us everything we wanted and more. What a great chat we had with him. Thank you to Jack Duggan, the longtime SID at Southern Miss as well, for helping set that up. And good luck to Southern Miss this weekend as they take on the Ragin' Cajuns for the University of Louisiana at Lafayette.
And then they'll conclude at Troy. All right, that's one of the games coming up this weekend. What else stands out to you, Con? In the SEC, I'm just going to go rapid fire for me and try to pick some things that you haven't already gotten down. I took Oregon and Washington from you. Southern Miss, Louisiana. I know you want a note of non-P4 games. We've done that enough already, certainly with Matthew Russo, but we got the Egg Bowl on the diamond, Ole Miss and Mississippi State. Remember how things went down in Hoover last year with the walk-off bomb for the Bulldogs in the SEC tournament? Yeah, Hoover Hyzak coming through with the home run to walk off Ole Miss in Hoover. So those two will meet for 3 in Starkville. Bulldogs are undefeated since firing their head coach, Chris Lemonis. NC State and North Carolina will certainly be spicy this weekend. Let's see, what else?
That's standing? A Thursday, Friday, Sunday series, by the way, because of graduation in Chapel Hill on Saturday.
Okay. Iowa and Oregon State, that series being played in Des Moines. Arkansas and LSU. Tigers dropped 2 out of 3 in College Station. They return home. They get the Hogs, who swept Texas for the first time ever in program history. Longhorns return home. They have Florida this weekend. Arizona and Utah. Wildcats don't stumble. Okay, they still got an outside chance at maybe putting themselves into a position to be a top 16 seed.
They're in right now.
Certainly if they can, not fall on their face against the Utes and then not go one and done in the Pac-12 tournament. I mean, there's plenty of landmines here.
Pac-12.
Sorry, Big 12. Beg your pardon.
There you go.
Hey, it's bound to get it. It's bound to get us all. Okay.
Arizona and Utah were Pac-12 teams, though. I'll give you that.
Yeah, they were. And it's that high Corbett field where the Wildcats play really well.
Yes.
What do you like this weekend?
Okay, so as I mentioned earlier, the SEC, the Big 12, the Big West, and the Sun Belt can all be locked up this week. I don't know if the Big Ten actually can be. I said it earlier. Iowa has a 2.5 game lead over UCLA, but Iowa is playing Oregon State in a non-conference series. So I don't know. I don't think that actually can be locked up. I think it's just a chance for UCLA to gain some ground because UCLA is at Illinois this weekend. Iowa's not playing a conference series. So it actually is a chance for UCLA. If they can sweep the Fighting Illini, they can be within one game of Iowa for the last weekend of the regular season, if my math is correct. So for the SEC, Texas has a 2-game lead on Arkansas. Of course, Arkansas has the tiebreaker over Texas in head-to-head. Texas taking on Florida, Arkansas at LSU, both huge series in the SEC. In the Big 12, West Virginia with a 3-game lead on Arizona State. They go to Manhattan, Kansas to take on the Wildcats. Arizona, meanwhile, welcomes in Houston. West Virginia wins 1 game. Arizona State loses 1 game. It's over. Big 12 to the Mountaineers. And then if you go to the West 2 games, and I think 2 wins, 2 losses is the magic number, because if they went 1-2, then it would be a 2-game lead. Yeah. So West Virginia's got to win 2, and Arizona State's got to lose 2. So West Virginia win the series. They've won 6 Big 12 series in a row. No reason to think they wouldn't do it, knock on wood. And then you got Arizona State taking on Houston as the comparative in the Big 12. In the Sun Belt, we already mentioned Coastal hosting Louisiana Monroe. Southern Miss hosts Louisiana, the Raging Cajuns in Lafayette. 2-game lead for the Chanticleers over Southern Miss. In the Big West, UC Irvine, a 2-game lead over Cal Poly. Both those teams are on the road this weekend. UC Irvine at Cal State Bakersfield, Cal Poly at Cal State Northridge. So we'll see how those series play out. And then in the Big East, you've got 3 teams at the top, Creighton, UConn, and Xavier. Creighton and Xavier play each other this weekend. So that might be one team cannibalizing another one in the Big East. And, of course, we talked about UConn earlier in the show, how they have just gone on an absolute tear. They delivered a haymaker to Villanova over the weekend in a 3-game sweep in Philly when they scored 55 runs in that 3-game sweep of the Wildcats. And then in the Big Ten, we talked about those 2 already. I think that's – I want to mention the ACC because that conference will not be decided this weekend. There are 7 teams within a game and a half of each other. The current leader, FSU, at 14-7, but they're going to play 3 less games in conference play because of that series against Virginia being wiped out.
Okay, very good. Thank you, David Kahn, for doing your homework on the schedule this weekend. I appreciate you. I would not be able to live. I would not be able to breathe air without your deep dive and the magic numbers. So thank you. Thank you very much. There was news, more coaching news this week before we say goodbye. Longtime Stony Brook head coach Matt Senk is retiring after 35 years with the program. He announced late on Wednesday night.
Yes, he is retiring. Currently, Stony Brook 22-24, 8-13 in the Coastal Athletic Association. They are just outside of 6th place right now. They're 2 games back behind College of Charleston. And remember, the top 6 teams make the CAA tournament, so that is important. But, I mean, you think about the legacy of Coach Matt Senk. Of course, you go back to 2012 when they had that magical run to the College World Series for the first time in program history. They beat the LSU Tigers in the Baton Rouge Super Regional after winning the Coral Gables Regional. They did go 0-2 in Omaha, but they still made it to the College World Series for the first time. That was an incredible season. They have taken how many trips to the NCAA tournament do they have? 6 NCAA tournaments, 6 conference regular season titles, and Matt Senk, a 3-time winner of the America East Conference Coach of the Year. So congratulations to Coach Senk on a long and storied career, and certainly hope that he ends it on the right note with Stony Brook at the end of the season.
Yeah, and the most memorable moment, which you brought up for me, certainly when I think of Stony Brook, is when they went down to Baton Rouge and won over LSU and advanced to the College World Series for the first time in their school histories. 35 years is a long time. That's one off how old I am. So, gosh, just think of it in those terms. So he's David Kahn. I'm Kyle Schassburger. This has been Dugouts, Dumbbells, and Dingers. Appreciate all you for tuning in. Hopefully you enjoy the Matthew Russo conversation. Yeah, not available on this episode in the video feed, but if you go back on YouTube, we've got a standalone episode, our conversation with Matthew Russo of Southern Miss. And certainly for the audio podcast listeners, you will know no different. Seamless transitions from the start of the show to Russo, and then David Kahn and I here on the back end to close things out. The Hebrew Hammer.
Happy Mother's Day, everyone.